Yes, my name is Samuel Kakuru. I teach with the Faculty of Business and Administration. I teach both BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration, and Accounting and Finance. The course unit I'm going to take you through is computerized accounting. And in computerized accounting, we are strictly going to QuickBooks now because we want to see how we can use computerized accounting information systems. And our main focus will be on QuickBooks. Now, that is what I'm going to handle. And we are going to learn how to create a company, how to set up multiple currencies, how to set up inventory, and entering opening balances. Then after that, we can enter inventory and then do the transactions. Then doing the transactions, and then at the end of the day, we look at the reports. What is our balance sheet and what is our, let's say, income statement, what are other reports, the company snapshot, what is our, let's say, projections, then any other settings like we can set up in a company file. We will have to set them up using our QuickBooks. So now we will learn, start by, of course, creating a company. And we always, let's say you have launched your QuickBooks. When you launch your QuickBooks and it has multiple companies opened there, because I told you about this, that it opens very many files. You can actually manage more than one companies in one QuickBooks software that is on your computer. So you can see there are very many files here. But of course, we want to launch one. We want to learn how to create a company. Then after creating a company, we set up the home currency, and then we start transacting in a normal way, like how a business is supposed to be run. So I will click on create company. Of course, that's after I have launched my QuickBooks. It will open like this, create a new company. So I'll click on create new company like I have done. And then after clicking there, because there are different options here, control the setup and fine tune the company file. That is when you have, let's say, exported the company file. Here you are creating a company file based on an existing one. Here you are converting data from other computerized accounting softwares, because I told you there are many in the market. But we are going to ignore all these ways, and then we express start. We click on express start to set up our company. That is in QuickBooks version 2018. If you are using version 2010, of course, you will have a different window. Your window will be showing get started. Of course, you might not need to go through the interview, a long interview that 2010 will take you through. So now we will focus. If it is 2010, you rather skip the interview, and then that is when you have a shorter interview like this one that I'm going to be taken through to create a company. Because I have the questions here that we shall be using. Of course, you can have any company name that you are going to use in your company file. For me now, I'm going to use the wheat traders. And that is my company name. Industries, there are various industries that you can use, and if you're not so sure of the industry that you operate in, as in your business, you click on help me choose. Accounting, advertising, art, church and religious organization. But my interest now is in a shop. Let's say you're running a shop or an online shop or general merchandise, general product based. I might choose general product based. For now, I'll run that type of company. Let's say we only trade in general products. Then I'll click OK. Now it will be put here. Then the business type. There are various types of business ownership, ranging from sole proprietorship, partnership, then corporation, Of course, you need to know your company ownership, your business ownership. But for now, let me say I'm running a sole proprietorship. I thought this will have an effect on the chart of accounts, the type of business that you're choosing. And here the country, we need to set up the required fields are the ones I will focus on. I will not fill everything. The country here, we are going to choose other. Uganda, unfortunately, is not here. This software is they are not made from here. So I'll click on other, and then create company. I'll click on create company, and then QuickBooks is going to create my company that I set up. This information can always be changed, by the way. I will show you how you can change it. Of course, you always go to company, and then you can look at the details of your company that you set. Let's wait for it. Sometimes it takes long to load depending on the number of companies it is running. Like this one of mine is, of course, there are many companies there. It is not like if you have just one company, it will just rush and then create for you one. But now I will have to be a little bit patient. Patience is also a virtue that you need to have as a business person. In other words, of course, I have dispelled the myth of computerized accounting being hard because you need. This is something that you have to enjoy, and through IT we can use different channels for you to learn very fast. It is taking long, but it is going to load. You'll go through the same interview when you're running the version that we have, 2010, but the interview will be a little bit shorter if you skip the interview, of which I recommend when you're running 2010 version. There we go. Our company that we set up is now ready, and you can see it in the menu bar, the wheat traders. And of course, from here there is a summary, get all the details into QuickBooks Desktop, add the people you do business with, of course, add your vendors, add the products you sell, add your bank accounts. Those are most important things that it first highlights, but we'll not set them up right now, but we shall start working immediately. When we choose to start working, of course, QuickBooks is still coming, setting up some things. Now it will take us through the tour of the latest features, and maybe the accountant center, of which we have to skip. The new feature tour, we are not so much interested into the new feature tour now. The accountant center, this you will use at a later stage when you are proficient. You can adjust trial balance immediately from there. General ledger, balance sheet, you can always, because they expect you they said you open QuickBooks immediately, you need to see some of these details. But now we are not interested in that. We shall close it also. And so we come to the home page. This home page, of course, has different icons. These different icons, each of them has what it does and what it helps us to do in QuickBooks. Right from create sales receipts, vendors, enter bills, pay bills. Of course, when you use your QuickBooks, when you actually run through these icons using your mouse, it can show you what these. It will always the message will always pop up, like showing you what every icon does. So long as you put it there, you just put your mouse there as you move the pointer there. So now I think understanding what all these icons does, all these icons actually, each icon has an importance, has a role that it does here, and it acts as a shortcut. So this is our home page, which we shall always run to in case we want to perform some of the most important things and use our software. But now, first things first, you have set up your company, you need to set up your home currency, like I always told you. So you set up your home currency from the edit menu. I told you the edit menu is like a settings, the settings tool in your phones, let's say in your computer, where you set up most of your company preferences, the things, how you prefer to run your accounts in your company. Let's say click on edit, then preferences, and then under preferences you see you can set up your preferences from accounting, biz, calendar, up to, let's say, spelling and grammar. But our interest now is in multiple currencies. Under multiple currencies, that is where you will set up your home currency. Then multiple currencies are my preferences, then your company preferences. What are your company preferences? Yes, I use more than one currency. It warns you because I told you, like, this is, if you set up a currency here, it will be, actually you won't change it. Before you do read the most important considerations, you are about to turn on multiple currencies. And then, are you sure you want to turn on multiple currencies in this company file? Our answer would be yes. And then when we click yes, we will click on this drop down arrow. Wherever you see this, just know there are other options. So you click here, but our Ugandan currency is not seen, so you will choose to view more currencies. And then there we go, our Ugandan shilling is there. When you set up your Ugandan shilling, you have to make it active. You make it active there and then you're about to select non-US home currency, because like I told you, the default currency here is the US dollar, but we want to use it in Uganda, so our home currency is Ugandan shilling. So we'll click yes, and then Uganda shilling is there, and then you will now need to click on OK. Click OK. Your company file will now close and reopen with your updated setting. Whenever you set up something under edit preferences, set up your company preferences, there will always, QuickBooks will always close that home page and open again. So I will click on OK. So QuickBooks is now closing, and then we will reopen with the home currency that I set up as Uganda shilling. Still working? Yes. There we go. There we go. Our setting, which is the home currency, is now set up, and as Uganda shilling. Set up external user. For now, we shall not set up the home user, so we'll cancel this. And another important setting now that we want to set up is inventory, because you want to use your company to manage your inventory. And as you manage your inventory, you need to make sure you define how you are going to do it in QuickBooks. So I will go to edit again, preferences, and then items and inventory. If you are using version 2010, my friend, the word inventory will not be there. Actually, that 2010 is made in UK, it's UK based. So it will be stock instead of inventory. It will be items and stock. So here you will click on company preferences. Of course, you have selected items and inventory. Now, purchase orders and inventory. You need to set up inventory and purchase orders. Make sure that this is active. You have to check this. You have to check this box. And now, what else you need to do is to set up the unit of measure. And I said we shall always start with the single unit of measure. How are you going to measure your inventory? Remember, inventory, those are the items that you trade in. And I'll select enable single unit of measure. Multiple unit of measure, we shall set it up. We shall see where it will apply. But for now, let us set up single unit of measure. And then we click on finish. We click on OK. As I told you, it will always must close and open windows with that preference set. It is working. If it delays, by the way, you can always click on the home tab. If it delays, the home tab is always there for you to make it faster. So now we have set up our home currency. We have set up our inventory, like setting inventory settings. And now, like let's say in our company, this company, the opening balances, we have fixed assets, we have bank accounts, we have our debtors, we have our creditors in stock and inventory. But now I can see we are not only dealing with one currency, which we set up, the home currency as Uganda shilling. Now I can see US dollar, I can see GBP, British pound, sterling, which we also need to set up. Remember, we need to just make these active. They are already, these currencies are already catered for in the QuickBooks file. So what are we going to do? We will go to lists. And then under lists, we shall look for currency list. Currency list. And then I always tell you that maximize the window. So you maximize it. And then when you maximize it, you can see different currencies, all ranging. I think most countries are catered for. Even the latest country that was added, I don't know which it is, maybe South Sudan, the currency is also catered for. So you can also set it up. But don't they use dollars? I think they also use dollars, but not US dollars, maybe. So we'll need to set up the US dollar. So simply you can place U if you're using 2010 or actually it can even 2010 and 2018 versions can always help you to do that. Then you see the currency that has an X here, it means that it is inactive, and the currency that doesn't have an X here that marked with X, it is an active currency. The Ugandan shilling, which we set up as a home currency, is already active. That's why it doesn't have an X. And here the US dollar is also already an active currency. So we shall right click on it, and of course edit. I said right click, or you can always double click, by the way. Right click and double click sometimes perform the same function in computer. Now you have to be more even computer literate in this course unit. I expect you to have passed principles of computing, yes, basics of computing, and fundamentals of accounting also. Some basics in accounting. Edit currency. You click on edit currency, and then the calendar. Most of you always confuse this calendar with the calendar that is here, but you always have to click here on these books, yes, and then you will select the date, the opening day, actually the closing day of the other trading period was 31st of December. That is when we will set up our currency, 31st of December. 31st of December, the date is there. 31st of December 2018. I always discourage you from writing it. Don't dare write it, because the format, you'd mess up with the format. When the calendar is already here, make sure you automatically do it. And then our exchange rate, where is the exchange rate? Let me look at the question. Okay, the question, it is below this table. $1 is equal to 3,600. Now in your question that you have, it might be different, so you make sure you use the right the exchange rate as 3,600. I will click OK. Now I have set up the exchange rate as of 31st of December, the opening for my opening balance. And QuickBooks will always remember this exchange rate. Maybe if you're doing a transaction, sometimes let's say the rate has changed, you can always edit it. Now our other currency in the question in our banks, can see we have the GBP, British pound, for Citibank. So we'll also look for it in our currency list. British pound, British GBP, British pound sterling, it is here. And here you see the British pound is inactive. There is an X. So you need to make it active even after editing it. Edit currency. The date is the same, please. So you will select your date as 31st of December. Then put the exchange rate. What is our exchange rate? Look in the question. The exchange rate is 4,000. So that is what we shall use as the exchange rate here, 4,000. And then the currency, remember I told you it was inactive. When it is inactive, there is always, this box is always checked. So you uncheck it. Make sure you uncheck it. And now the British pound sterling will be active. So you click OK. So when you click OK, you have set up the currencies. See, let's say you have other currencies, that is why you always set them up and make them active. So the UGX, the USD, and then this sterling is also set. So now what else are we going to do? We shall close the currency list. Close the currency list. So now in our company we have set up multiple currencies. We can run our company in multiple currencies. We have set up our preferences of inventory or stock, and now we are ready to start entering opening balances. And then opening balances, of course, there are accounts. You need to create these accounts, the fixed asset account, the bank accounts. As I told you that these icons, all as we shall discover, each of them has a function it plays in QuickBooks, right? Of course, when you run through it using your pointer, they will tell you. But now our interest is in company chart of accounts. Chart of accounts, they say view and modify your QuickBooks accounts, banks, income, expenses, etc. So you know the categories of your accounts that you have in your business, ranging from expenses, incomes, of course equity is catered for, loans they are catered for. So all these, the chart of accounts, you always click on your chart of accounts if you want to set up a new account. Now, depending on the type of business that you choose, QuickBooks will automatically suggest for you these accounts. Now, because the wheat traders, they chose that they are a sole proprietorship. That is the type of company. So it came automatically with these all types of accounts. But you always have an option to delete an account that you don't want. But they range from, of course, fixed assets to expenses and other expenses, cost of goods, income, equity, other current liabilities. There are different categories of accounts, as you know your principles of accounting. So now we want to create new accounts. We can create a new account, or we can edit the existing ones. Now, opening balance equity, this of course will always be debited with a total from the opening balances. Now, what appears where in our financial statements? From equity upwards, all these ones from equity upwards, they will always appear in the balance sheet from equity upwards, and then from below equity, incomes and expenses, those ones will be always tracked in our income statement. That is where they will be tracked. But now, if I can close it again and first take you through the question, I can close, and then we go back to the question. We have to set up fixed asset, and then we have to set up a fixed asset, which is old pickup vehicle. So now we shall go back to QuickBooks. Of course, I'm on the home page. I'll click on chart of accounts. I'll go into a chart of accounts. I want to enter fixed assets. The only fixed assets I see provided for is furniture and accumulated depreciation. But for now, we want to create a new account. So we shall right click in our chart of accounts, not on. Most people click on the icon, but we click in after having open chart of accounts. We click on new, then of course the categories will come up as I was explaining to you: incomes, expenses, fixed assets, bank loan, and then there are others here: accounts receivable, current assets. Of course, from the background of your accounting, you know what to categorize where. So our interest now is in fixed asset, because that is what we want to set up. So I'll click on fixed asset and click continue. Then I have my fixed asset that I want to set up. Old pickup vehicle. Old pickup vehicle. Should I put it the way it is? It's up to you. Old pickup vehicle. Old pickup vehicle. And this is my fixed asset name. Of course, they say you can select from examples if you're not sure of the fixed asset, what to categorize under fixed asset. But my fixed asset is an old pickup vehicle. So I will enter my opening balances from here. Now the opening balance was 5 million, UGX 5 million. 5 million as of the day I started my business, 31st of December. These, remember, they are opening balances, so they are closing stock of the previous trading cycle. So it is as of 31st of December 2018. So I will click OK. So now I can put the description of the old pickup, or I can put old pickup vehicle and put the description as old. So you have even a field to put the description of your asset. Sub account, we shall come to it later. And so now if you have other fixed assets, you can save and new. But since we only have, in our question, we have fixed asset and we have one old pickup, so I will save and close. This transaction is more than 90 days in the past. Yes, it is more than 90 days in the past, because now QuickBooks, all this is current, runs according to the calendar. That's why they say it is 90 days more than 90 days in the past. So we shall click on OK. And then our fixed asset value, all the pickup vehicle, you see it is now set up in our chart of accounts. It is there, old pickup vehicle, and the balance total is 500. I told you the money this amount will also be, of course, originating maybe when you're opening balance, you could double entry. I will say these computerized accounting information systems, of course, they match with the generally accepted accounting principles. So that's why it has to credit and debit. So the account debited is the old pickup vehicle, and then the capital account, which is in this case opening balance equity, is 5 million. So I want to set up to set up banks, for example. Now I have my various bank accounts, Stanbic, Barclays. They are here. They are also opening balances. So I'll still go back to my chart of accounts. Remember my chart of accounts. If you have closed it mistakenly, you have to know that you have to click on your chart of accounts and then right click, choose new, and then you enter your bank. Now we are entering banks. They say create one for each cash account, such as petty cash, checking, savings, money market. Even when it is a cash account here, let's say you're handling cash in your drawer, you always have to create for it an account, let's say cash account under bank in QuickBooks. So we will continue, choose to continue, and then we continue, and then put the bank name. Bank name. Our bank name here is Barclays Bank. Barclays Bank. Then now I've just copied and pasted it just to save time. Barclays Bank. And then look at the currency, please. Pay attention on the currency used. The currency here is USD. So please don't leave it as a home currency. You have to check that on the currency used and put US dollars. Description, you can always describe that account, what it does, the bank account number. If you have it, you have to put it here. But in our question, we don't have it provided for. That's now here. The bank account in Barclays opening balance is $25,000 USD. So we will put it here as our opening balance, 25,000. And then what is our end of statement ending date? Now this one is not like, you have to make sure that you also select it. End of statement date. Now that is the same as the date the closing balance for the last previous trading cycle. So it is still 31st of what? 31st of December. We are dealing with opening balances, as I had told you before. You see the exchange rate is catered for here. It is automatically extracted from where we set it up under currency, in currency lists, under lists. So you click on OK. Now, since we don't have only one bank account, you will not save and close. You will save and what? Save and new for another what? Bank account. Still 90 days in the past. Yes. Our other bank account is Stanbic. Stanbic, and it is UGX 20 million. Stanbic and UGX. Yes, the currency is UGX, and then the opening balance is 20 million. And then now this is it is 20 million, and then the end of statement date. In statement date, it is still 31st of December 2018. Click OK and save and new for another bank. Remember, we had 3 bank accounts. Now our other bank is Citibank. Now some of you call it Citibank. Citibank. Citibank, and the currency used is the British pound sterling, GBP. Remember, we already made it active. What is the opening balance? It is 12,000. Have you selected the currency? Yes, 12,000. And then the date is still 31st of December. Like that. You see the exchange rate is still the same like we set up in the currency list. So you will click OK, and then there you can save and close. Since you have finished your banks, save and close. Yes. Now when you save and close, QuickBooks will take you to your chart of accounts, and then of course this money is now even in your chart of accounts. When you look at your chart of accounts, this money is there. Barclays Bank, the currency used USD 25,000, Citibank. Now these are opening balances. Now you might need to look at your balance sheet. How does your balance sheet look like now? I have closed the chart of accounts. Now to look at your report, now let's say you want to see your balance sheet, you have to go to reports. All reports, you will find them here under reports. Reports, then company and financial, then balance sheet standard. If you're using version 2010, it will be UK balance sheet standard. This is just balance sheet standard. I'll just click on my balance sheet. The balance sheet is there. Your balance sheet is there, and of course money is now converted. Your currency is converted into the amount here is converted into your home currency, because they expect you to read it in your to read the amount in your home currency. The wheat traders balance sheet as of June 4th. They have even brought as of today, because it is the balance sheet you have requested for it today at 6:26 p.m. The date will always be there. They actually say, and now accrual basis and cash basis. Even cash basis, this is like that. Accrual basis, we shall explain that as you continue, maybe in our next classes. That's when we shall see when do we have the report in accrual basis and on cash basis. But now this is there any natural thing? Barclays Bank posted, these are assets, old pickup, fixed asset. Then liabilities, I told you the opening balance will always be treated as a liability. This is capital like debit, credit, double entry. So it is balancing at 160 days. The asset side and then the liability side. You might, if you have done some transactions, that is when you can maybe want to look at your profit and loss reports, company and financial profit and loss standard income statement. That is profit and loss. But this month, I told you customization as one of the advantages of computerized accounting information systems. So now when you can see all day, now this was of, you can choose all. Now choose all, there is nothing much we have done to show us the financial, the income statement. So we will close that. You can memorize the report, but we don't want to memorize it for now. Now the most part that was disturbing my classes was how to debit datas, how to enter datas and creditors. How do we enter datas and creditors? Opening balances in your QuickBooks company. Now I said we shall use the general journal to do these transactions. The general journal is what we shall use, because when you enter them directly from the customers here, if you enter them from the customers using the customer center, you always have some issues. Let's say in your balance sheet, always have an categorized income. So we shall ignore that and use the general journal. I told you the general journal, we make general journal entries still from the chart of accounts. See from your chart of accounts. So we'll go to our chart of accounts and then right click, make general journal entries. Make general journal entries. So your general journal is there, and they say assigning numbers to journal entries. Yes, it's okay, they should assign them. So it's as of 31st of December. Look at the currency used. Say for these opening balances, for the datas, we shall debit the data and credit the sales account. Why do that? Because we expect money from datas, money from our customers, and there is no way how we can get money from our customers when they don't buy our goods. So that's why we shall debit sales, which is an income account. That's why we shall credit sales, which is our income account, and debit the data, who is our account receivable in QuickBooks. Account receivable is the same as the data. It is the same as our customer. We will remember to add the customer, add them as customers. So in our general journal, we shall add new account. Shall add a new account as account what? Account receivable. We expect to get money from those. Those were our opening balances. Now, first one was Shahel Traders. Shahel Traders. Shahel Traders, and then the currency was Uganda shilling, 7 crores. You might need to add him here as a customer. We shall just add him as our customer. Add him as a customer, and the Shahel Traders, the customer name. You can always have various details: his phone number, mobile, payment settings. All these ones you can set them up, but our interest was only in the name as provided by the question. Then the date, you can remember the date when you added him, it will be 31st, still 31st of December. Don't enter the opening balance here if you use the general journal. If you use the general journal, don't put it there, because you have already created it for in your general journal here. So we shall debit this with how much? It is 5 million. 5 million. 5 million. And then you see it is automatically crediting itself here. So we shall credit sales. We have a sales account. Yes, we have sales. It is already there, depending on the type of the bank, of the company you have created. So you will do it like that. Then you will need to save and new. Now that was for the data. Let me do for you for the creditor, and then we call it a day, because you need to know how to record the datas and then creditors. Now the same way is how you enter the second data, which is Mahal and Sons. Let's see how we treat creditors, and then we call it a day. So we shall do the vice versa in our chart in our general journal. If you don't know where the general journal was for, how we find it, you right click in your chart of accounts, you go to make general journal entries. Make general journal entries, and then now you need to select the currency. Our creditors use the dollar. So you have click on the dollar, and then the date is still there, and you see the current when I select the dollar, it is provided for the exchange rate. So what do we do for creditors? For creditors, we credit the creditor, and then we debit the purchases account. So I'm going, and remember the creditor is purchases receivable. It rather is accounts payable. Those people owe us some. We owe them some. They owe us some money. Yes. So you'll go to because I'm adding a new account, then accounts payable. You select the type of account as an account payable, and that is JIPA traders. JIPA traders, and then and the currency used on JIPA uses US dollars. So we save and close, and then we remember to add, if it is we are treating accounts payable. So accounts payable is a vendor. We will remember to add him as a vendor. If you're using version 2010, the word vendor is not there. It will be supplier. Yes, it will be supplier. So you use a supplier name. You enter a supplier, and it is JIPA traders. You choose the currency used. Please remember to choose the currency. That's where you mess things up. So you select US dollar there. When I'm entering the vendor or supplier, then I will click OK. And then remember, I will credit him. I will credit the accounts payable with how much? How much for JIPA? $200,000. $200,000. And then I will debit purchases account. Now here it is purchases with sale item. If you are not comfortable with purchases with the sale, you will need to edit purchase, and you just leave it as purchases. And remember the type of an account. This is a cost of goods sold or cost of sales account. It is already debited with 200,000, and that is how you'll be treating. That's how you'll be treating your creditors, especially opening balances. Then you save and close. If you have another one to enter, like you are supposed to do, you'll save and renew. So 90 days in the past, yes. And then you need to look at your report again, see whether it was posted rightly. So you go to your reports, company and financial. You look at your balance sheet standard, and then you should be able to see accounts receivable, which are our data's accounts receivable, Sahel traders. It is there. It is posted right. And accounts payable, which is in liability side, it is JIPA traders. And maybe if you want to look at the reports Other reports are your account, your customers and receivables. That is where you will be looking for your data. Then customers, remember it is a customer. Then you look at customer balance summary. Then you will see your Shahil traders there with 5 million. And then you want to look at your vendor or supplier report. You go to also vendor and payables, and then vendor balance summary. You'll find Jaipur traders with that amount converted into your local currency. Remember it was the currency used on him was USD, but it is converted into your local currency. Remember, what I have forgot to tell you is that you can export these statements, these financial statements into QuickBook, rather into Excel, and then or you can print them directly from here. If you're connected to a printer, you can export them to Excel. Excel here, then you can export it to Excel, and then you can have it in Excel, or like I'm going to export this and then show you and then close. Export. I've chosen to export. It's going to export it into Excel, and then yes, it is exporting. Otherwise, it has already exported it. It is here, and that is how it looks in Excel. Someone might not be comfortable with this, but if you save it as let's say I'll save it on desktop and then save it as a PDF, and then you look at it. Save it. I'm saving it as I'm saving it as a PDF. I will not edit the name, so let me just save it like that. I already have one that is existing. Okay, I'll put report. Then I save it as a PDF here. Let's look at how it looks like PDF format. There we go. There you go. There you go with your balance sheet. And we'll call it a day. I think it has been very interesting, and I hope this will be so helpful for you. You can always pray it again, and as you do your assignments, because and you find things interesting. Thank you so much.